Hello and welcome to another episode of Empowering Discussions with a Disabled Man. My name is Michael Hummel. We're going to be talking to Ellen Ann Smith Sudderth today. She is the CEO of ESP. She is a proud wife and mother of four, two grandchildren, Malachi and Roman. She was born in Chicago, and we're going to be bringing her in a minute when she comes on. I'm just waiting for her to send in a request. How are you today? I'm glad you're joining us. There she is. We'll bring her in when she requests. There she goes. Just bring her in. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. And you?
Good. Very good.
Can you see me?
What? I can see you. Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, awesome. Because I'm short. I'm only 5'2".
I'm 5 foot. Got me beat.
You 5'3"?
I'm 5 foot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
but I'm
So
always
I
sitting
got
down.
2 inches on you. I got 2 inches on
But I'm always
you.
I'm always sitting down so no one can tell.
I know. It is good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, it was great.
You're
Uh, so what is your relationship to disability, and how did you find me? Because I'm curious about your relationship to spina bifida and how you knew about that.
Okay, so I found you on Instagram. I was curious about it because I have my hairdresser. She has spinal bifida. So
Okay.
I reached out to, you know how you can search. So in the search, you came up and others that had, that network of spinal bifida. So I
Okay.
think you might have been the first one that came up. And so I joined you that way. So that was my interest right there.
Okay. Now, how long have you been? Uh, what do you know? What state you're? What condition of spina bifida your hairdresser has? Is she like in a wheelchair? Can she walk or?
She walks. She
Okay.
walks, and she have an I don't know what you call that boot, but she have that type of brace on,
Okay.
and so she does walk, but she walks with the brace on both feet. So I
That's
don't know what type, but hopefully we can come back again because I know that last time your connection issues was not happening. So I hope to bring her back again,
okay.
and that way we can talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope it should be okay. Um, I have full leg braces. I've seen people with either full leg braces or just below the knee, and I use my chair mostly, but I can walk with crutches.
hmm Yeah. So she just used her chair, and I mean, I'm sorry, she used just the crutch
Hmm.
that she had. They look like extended. She says she's had her leg. Um, she had so many surgeries, and I don't know if they lengthen her leg or what, but
Hmm.
she does wear that boot, and she does have, you know how some people mistake her for having polio.
Hmm.
So she has this crutch that her hand kind of cuffs in there, and it's long, like a long stick. So some people misdiagnose and think maybe she has polio, and I did too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've had leg surgeries, probably about 30 of them,
Mm,
from birth until about I was 17, which was 1996.
wow.
Yeah.
Was it to lengthen your leg or just some type of
One of
corrective?
the surgeries actually shortened my leg. The other surgeries were to just mend broken legs. because I used to break my legs a lot because I used to when I would crawl when I was little, or
Mm-hmm.
I would walk around, and I would just they were very brittle and easily broken. Yeah.
So not like the OI, brittle bone disease, not like
Mm.
that. Okay, because I know they break their bones a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was just due to I would crawl around and like go in certain spots and it would break. On one time, my brother and I were wrestling, and we were big into wrestling, and he took me, and you know what a suplex is?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. He picked me up, put me back down, and he put me back down a little too hard, and broke both my legs.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And
So
I
so
was young.
did you find out
I
that day or later?
what?
Did you find out that day or later that
Oh,
they
I
were?
knew right away because I it felt awkward and weird. And, it didn't hurt because I have less feeling, but I definitely noticed something was up.
Wow.
And then my mother, who it is the consummate investigator, because my father was a detective, so my mother just was very observant. And as soon as she felt my leg and it was like hot, she knew something was up.
So you wouldn't like crying, "Mommy, I'm
No,
hurt." None of that.
no, no. It didn't hurt because I like I said, I have less feeling,
Oh
so
wow.
I knew something was up, but I didn't know exactly what was going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like that hurts bad.
And when I was
Mama's.
8 years old, when I was around 8 years old, I had double hip surgery. We had to go to Boston Children's Hospital, and what was happening was the bone was going into the socket, and it was fusing, and I was like unable to sit correctly. So they cut
Oh
the
wow.
bone. They cut the bone so that it would stop growing, and that worked for about 2 weeks. That was it. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Sound
yeah.
really painful.
Hmm. Yeah.
Really painful.
I didn't really notice it. It wasn't bad to
How do
me.
you sit down? Did they have to put rods in you, or what was
I
the
have
con?
pins in I have pins in my legs.
Oh.
I can sit up, but I mean I can't sit up as straight as everyone else can,
Hmm.
who's not disabled.
Well, I
I
can't
have
tell.
I have to have my hands behind my back to not let me fall over, fall
Whoa.
back. Yeah. So if I don't have my hands behind my back, I'll just fall back on my back. Yeah.
Wow. So is it like I don't know. Only thing I can think of is a weeble wobble, but they don't fall down. You know, sort of like flexible spine or maybe a curve. I know you have spinal bifida, but does that necessarily mean that you have a curve as well?
I do have scoliosis. That's
Okay.
been I've seen that in X-rays. I do have that,
Mm.
and my balance is not great. I can. It's funny. I can stand up straight without using my crutches and balance, but if I move an inch, I'm going to be on my face.
Oh my.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta be careful.
Wow.
Yeah, gotta be
Got to be
careful.
really careful.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm excited to be here. I do have questions for you,
Go ahead. Yeah.
and I did want to tell you about my mom. I talked
Okay.
about it a little. So, so you want me to go with the question first, or tell you about my mom?
Anything you want. This is about you.
Okay,
And
so I'm going to go with my mom first. So, when it comes to like disability or saying the word disability, I never thought my mom as being disabled. I never did. I just thought she was like a regular mom until I went to kindergarten and folks started kind of asking me about my mom. But I felt like it could be as an adult listening and thinking back, It could
Mm-hmm.
be as if someone may say that I was ashamed of her. You could say ashamed, you could say guarded, you could say any of those things right there, but I was very protective of her. And
Yeah.
so when I got to school age, that's when kids, like my dad, he's the hearing person. He can speak, he can hear and talk. He's not deaf. So my
Mm-hmm.
mom married a hearing man. And so
Yeah.
my mom is deaf and as well as she can't speak.
Okay.
So getting into school, like I said, I was very protective and I didn't want to talk about it too much because
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to protect her. It could be, like I say, again, it could be like shame, it could be a protective, it could be whatever others would think about.
Yeah,
But
I get.
mine, it was protective. And so I didn't want to hear like the ultimate scare for me was somebody to say, your mom can hear and talk, blah, blah, blah. Actually, blah, blah, blah. Not saying any words, just blah, blah, blah. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so I feared that. I really feared just I always talk about my dad. My dad do this, my dad, my dad, my dad. Until finally somebody said the magic word, what about your mom? That's when I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
no, very proud of her, but at the same time didn't want to talk about it because I know society was so cruel. This is the
Yeah.
70s. And where I lived at on the street, for me, it felt like my mom was the only one in the world deaf for
Mm-hmm.
me
Yeah.
because nobody on the street, I hadn't met anybody that was deaf,
Mm-hmm.
you know, at that
Yeah.
time. And so when they asked me, and then I said, my mom can hear and talk. And then they started saying, your mom can hear and talk, blah, blah, blah. She's deaf and dumb. You're that deaf and dumb child. Your mom is deaf and dumb. So I
Yeah.
started fighting. I was fighting people from school age all the way up to I was about 14. And so then I realized, I said, you guys have to deal with that. My mom can hear and talk. Fighting is not going to get her hearing back, nor is it going to get her to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So you deal with it. After I stood uh, in that, then
Yeah.
people started trying to be friends with me. And it's like, well, let's go visit your mom. They were very afraid of her because they never seen anybody that could,
Mm-hmm.
was deaf. And
Yeah.
so when they come, I don't say, hi, this is my mom, she's deaf. To this day, I don't say, hi, this is my mom, she's deaf. I just say, this is my mom. And then when they try to talk to her, I say, she's deaf. I
Yeah.
still do that to this day because my mom, uh, she doesn't wear a hearing aid or anything. You just probably think that she's trying to ignore you and that she just defiant and she don't want to talk to you
Yeah.
until I say she's deaf. Because she can read lips very well, and she could also she's really acclimated to the hearing world
Yeah.
to the point that you just don't know she can't hear.
Yeah.
And so after doing that and they come over and I say, okay, when you come over, I want you to go to the side, look to the side of me. I have to see my mom in the face because I have to sign to her. And they're like, okay. I was like, move out the way so I can hear my mom.
Okay.
And now that I'm thinking about it, it wasn't that I could hear her, but that
Yeah.
was our communication and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And
Just
so when, go ahead.
ways, just different ways of hearing and expressing yourself. I get it. Yeah. Just.
Yeah, yeah. And so when she would like go out in the neighborhood and stuff like that, and she say hi, people say hi to her, I would use my voice. My mom did not want me to use my voice. She did
Mm-hmm.
not want to sign in public. In my mind, as an adult, I believe she wanted to be, and I hate this word, as normal as society is.
Yeah.
And so neither did her mom raise her like she was deaf or had any disability. That's why it's just like, oh, that's the norm.
Yeah.
And so I just got a chance just last week to visit my mom, and I some pictures on my page and everything. And my mom she's 4'11", and she's
Mm-hmm.
feisty, and she loves to dance and turn the music up loud so she can feel the vibrations. So that's pretty much my story of. And then she taught us sign language,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't want to listen because my dad could hear and talk, and so I would gravitate more to dad.
Yeah.
Even though as now that I'm adult, I was like, I see somebody signing, and I remember those words. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those signs, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so she didn't teach us the sign. I just ignored it because I didn't need to use it. So now I know sign language more than passable. One sister is very proficient in signing in medical terms, and she's like her she's kind of her medical attorney, what do you call it? Not attorney, power of attorney, I guess. And she had those
Yeah.
different things she could do with my mom.
Yeah.
Whereas me, I'm like the very, very basic, but I know what my mom is saying, but sometimes I'm like, okay, what is she saying? But if someone was deaf and they
Hmm.
came in front of me, I could have a full conversation all day because I'm really like talking with them and then like, what's that word? Say that again, do it again. I need to learn more. I need to practice. So it's like that. And then I can keep it moving. Yeah, so that is my story, and that is my mom. And I really now know that that is a community, a deaf community that I would love to get with that community so that I can be more acclimated into the deaf culture.
Hmm. Thank you for sharing that. I've always
Yeah,
wanted to learn sign language, but I never have. I know certain things here and there, but I want to be fluent in it. But
yeah.
I need to practice and work on it more.
The only way I learned to now. Here's the other thing. I learned that the only way to really learn is to get in the community, whether you know it or not. And so, like, as I got older and
Hmm.
my wife had moved away, then I learned some sign language from others. And
Okay.
then when I turned 40, I'll be 60 this year. But when I turned 40, I was like, hmm. And so I went to visit my mom while in my 40s, and it was like I finally spoke to her the first time, actually knowing real sign language. So I asked her what's her favorite color. I got to ask her a whole bunch of things. It was like a kid learning to speak with, interact with their mom. So I was
Hmm.
very
Yeah.
excited about that. I was like, wow, here I am in my 40s, just now really embracing because, it wasn't done. And I
Yeah.
like what they're doing now in society, calling
Hmm.
it inclusions, even having models that's in wheelchairs and all type of disabilities are being more acclimated into society. So I am loving that.
No,
I'm
that's
loving
great. That's a great.
it.
Love that. I used to go to a school for handicapped kids, and so I've known deaf kids, but I never tried to learn it. Not that I was trying to avoid it, but I never dove into it the way I want to now.
Hmm.
And my mother's always been overprotective, always been taking care of me, and always like the defender. And it was never an issue of like what normal or not normal was never an issue
Hmm.
in my house, which I'm glad about. It was just just very protective and always like the first line of defense, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like me, just like what we're talking about. It's not that, it's just society is so cruel. But my mom, she's 87, she'll be 88. So you can imagine how cruel it was back then. And I remember you talked about, they wanted to put you in the institution. Same thing with my mom. My grandmother was 16 and she was born in, I want to say 1917. If she was
Mm,
alive today, she'd be 106, 100 something years old.
yeah.
And then plus being black and being prejudiced and all that stuff. So she didn't get the care that she needed,
Hmm.
16-year-old pregnancy. And so my mom is her first child. She's not the second or third. She's the first child who's
Hmm.
deaf.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
I found out at an adult age about maybe 2 or 3 years ago from her sister. I thought my
Hmm.
mom was born deaf. All these years, I thought she was born deaf. And so my aunt told me that my mother, uh, she was born hearing, but because of rubella, some type of childhood disease,
Okay.
that lost her hearing. And she said the reason why your mom can cope in society as a hearing person is because
Hmm.
she could hear. And I was like, what? I didn't know that, but she was really young. So now I'm just knowing that she was not born deaf. So, and then, like you said, the protective piece of being very protective. My grandmother, um, they say she used to have her like on, how you have the dog on a harness.
Yeah.
They said they used to keep my mom like that. It sounds cruel, but
Hmm.
then what was she doing that time back in the 30s? And her
Yeah.
daughter wandering around, can't hear and talk. If she wanted to latch her to a tree and let her run around, and some people might say she was a tree hugger, or that's where she was.
Yeah.
So that's where she had her fun, and so she kept her safe.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could say something to my grandmother, she didn't know sign language. They had their little bonding that they did, and we call it like homemade signs, or somebody might say slang sign, or that's what she did with us. And then we learned how to do it. She had 11 children with me, and so things like that. So with grandmama not knowing, she would ask her what's your mom saying, and would tell her what she's saying,
Mm-hmm.
and reading lips. And then my mom and dad, he could hear, and she read his lips, and as far as his communication back to her, she knew what he was saying, and he gathered what she was saying. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. I call it a certain type of love language they had, and and being a teenager at one time, I can remember saying to my mom, and I was angry, really defiant, and not so much, because that time you couldn't really do that. And I'm like, hey, well, why didn't you? And I'm mouthing, forgetting that she could read lips. I'm like, well, why didn't you marry somebody that was deaf? She caught me in my tracks and told me she did not want anybody deaf. She wanted security. She wanted to be, around someone that was hearing. This was protection from her.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
didn't meet anybody. And I was like, oh, she did hear me. So you got to be very careful. You got to talk just like this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
You got to have it. You
You
got to have it.
you said that you gravitated more towards your father because your mother was deaf when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Did how did that relationship go with your mother when you were a kid? Did it hinder it when you were a kid, and it got better as you get older because of that, or how did that go?
What you say? Could you say it again? I didn't hear you as well.
Because you gravitated more towards your father when you were a kid, did that hinder your relationship with your mother, or was it just like was that? Oh, I can't hear.
Personally, I don't think so. In this, can you hear me now? Because there was a phone call. I just knocked it out the way. Can you
Yeah, I
hear
can
me
hear.
now? Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah, I
look
can
at
hear you.
it that way. I didn't look at it that way. But she would always smile that we were gathering around dad, and all of us just hang on to him like a sloth. And so just stand by him, and mom's there. And we would, mom was pretty tough. Dad was more of the nurturing one. So we just go over there by her, can't wait till daddy get home, because mama was very
Yeah.
strict, just like dad, but dad was more the nurturing one. And so there, with that, I think she just looked on and saw that we, at least we could gather with him. And then we were by ourselves. We did
Mhm.
puzzles. Me and my mom, we did puzzles. We kind of do the sign that she taught us, and a little bit of sign language. So to answer that question, I don't think, as much as I'm thinking about it now as an adult, that it was felt like a wedge. But I do remember the times when, like, if we're sitting down, she did all of us this way, and she would lay her head on our shoulder or on our back, or put her finger right here, right
Mhm.
here. And
Okay.
she would have us to talk so she could feel the vibrations of what we're saying. And then now, me being an adult, I realized that she never heard her children's voice.
Well,
So she would lay on our back, like I said, and put her hand right here, and just to feel, just feel those vibrations. And she said that she prayed that all of her kids could hear and talk. And we did. And she would thank God for each child that could hear and talk. So I remember her saying that.
that's sad
Yeah.
but beautiful. I love
Hmm?
that. That's sad but
Yeah.
beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So with that, I think that was more of a look on. But when it came to being in the house and the television is on, my
Hmm.
mom would turn it down. But music she would turn up, TV she would turn down. And so it taught me to read lips. So I can read lips proficiently. So when we used to, like, okay, can't wait till daddy come home, because the TV can go up now because daddy is home. Daddy, hurry up, please come home, hurry up so we can hear the TV. Hurry, 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 hurry. So things like that. And then we got a chance to hear the TV. But
Hmm.
another thing that I like, being a kid, and my dad, we didn't have a telephone until about the late 80s.
Okay.
something like that. We didn't have a telephone in the house. My dad said no need to have it because mom came here and talk. Why have that phone ringing? But I do remember that coming home from school, she would not give us a key to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking that, a lot of girls and dating and stuff like that, I think that was a factor, as well as her being deaf, not
Mm-hmm.
just open the door and come in. And
Yeah.
so I can remember times when I would come home from school, and now it is like after school, in school time, when it's after school, maybe about 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm at home, knocking on the door. It doesn't mean anything because you can't hear, right? So I'm knocking on the door and I'm sitting there doing my homework or just falling asleep just until she come, because we have to wait till she come to open the door.
Yeah.
And so none of us had a key. Keep in mind, none of us had a key. We wasn't
Yeah.
privileged to have a key. So we would wait. And then I remember one time I knocked on the door and then she came to the door and I said, so you can hear. She said, I can't hear. I said, you heard the door. And it was just going back. No need to be going back and forth. It just so happened that she randomly came to the door.
Oh,
So I'm like, wow. But it's quite interesting just growing up in the home with a mom that's deaf, right?
yeah.
Interesting. Very
Bet.
interesting.
Bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the youngest of three, and I'm the only one that's disabled.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was, life was very different for me as far as just like that protection. Having my brother and sister like always take care of me and look after me. Like I always found it sweet that my brother how much my brother took care of me. Like
Hmm.
my favorite compliment I've ever gotten was that sometimes I forget you're in a wheelchair,
Hmm.
and my brother first gave me that the first time. That's why it meant more. It meant more from him.
Mm.
But I always had that a good relationship with him.
Oh, that's good. Did they do that? Like, I wonder if you can come and play. I know you had the souffle, but was it times that your mom was very protective over your siblings playing with you, like when y'all have playtime?
I don't remember really. She was protective. I don't really remember her being protective when we were playing. Like when I was a kid, we would go out. I would go out with my friends, and you know how it was in the 80s and 90s. Like we didn't really have like curfews. A curfew happened when like the street lights went on.
Hmm.
You had to
Like
go home.
us, yeah. Got to hurry up and go home quick
Street
before the
light
street
goes on.
light come
You got,
on.
yeah. But
Yeah, we did that.
yeah, she was very easy. She was protective but easygoing at the same time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like give and take. Yeah.
Like in
But
the neighborhood.
funny
Neighborhood.
story. I was like 8 years old, and I had just gotten back from Boston with that double hip surgery that I told you about, and I my brother and sister gave me cookie dough
Oh yeah.
eat because it was so good. I ate it, and I kind of got sick out over it, and my mother found out. That was not good.
So were you allergic to it, or you just
No,
golfed it,
I ate
scarfed
too much of
it? Mm, mm, mm,
it.
mm. I do have some questions for you.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay.
Floor is yours.
How is it with you getting in and out of your wheelchair?
Um, when I'm in my wheelchair and I get into bed, I just I use my hands to pick up. I place them on the wheels, and I pick
Hmm.
myself, and I just transfer from one place to the other, and then I just pick up my legs and move them on the bed one at a time, carefully to make sure that they don't break. But it's just basically picking myself up, and when I go in my car, I have my leg braces on because I can't stand without them. So I use my crutches. I go out to my car and I just stand up with my legs locked, and I just pick myself up from the ground into the driver's seat.
Mm. It's a big car or it's a
It's a Chrysler Pacifica. It's a minivan. That's basically the only kind of car I have because I like it has the best room for like my chair getting in and me getting in. Plus, I like being higher because my first car it was in 1988. A little like it was a boat basically. I
Hmm.
forgot what it was, but it was a boat and it was this long car, but it was low to the ground. So I hated being in that car
Wow.
because now I get higher and I have so much more room. So that's how I get in.
Now, I did
And
see
when I
somebody
go to the bathroom, I stand up.
to say it again.
When I go to the bathroom, I just stand up and lock my legs and then go. That's how I do it.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's the only time I ever get up is those three.
So what about when this is a might be a hard one, but nothing is hard for you. What about bathing yourself and hygiene and all that stuff? Is that hard?
No, I have a shower chair that I place. I put it in. I have a. We have a tub in our apartment and a shower. We have two bathrooms, and I have a shower chair in my bathroom, and my wife has her bathroom. And I
Hmm.
just go in my chair, undressed already, go in
Hmm.
my bathroom, and just transfer into the shower and just do it that way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's good. A lot of abilities that you have. And what does society, when they see you, do they ask, what's wrong with you? Why are you in that wheelchair? Because me looking at you, I would never think that you're in a wheelchair or wheelchair bound or anything
Hmm.
because, again, that word normal.
Yeah.
So how
Um,
does society view you?
it's different. I have people react differently to me. Some just think of me like normal, whatever. You can do whatever I can. Some people treat me like I can't do anything, and they like try to help me as much as they can. Some people completely ignore me, which is the one that bothers me the most. Like I'll be out with my wife, and somebody will like ask her questions and address her, or I'll ask them a question and they'll answer her instead of
What's
answer.
up with that? What's
I
up
don't know.
with that?
I don't know. So that's
That's
the one that bothers me the most.
anything to do
Um,
with hearing.
yeah, that's the one that bothers me the most. But that's basically the three ways that they treat me or talk to me, which and you get used to it. And some people are still afraid of asking me questions. That's why I do what I do because I want people to be okay with asking questions.
Hmm.
Because the more you ask, the more you learn, and the more you'll be able to have a better relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think, like society, that we're a little different toward our disability community? Like I think it's a lot better now because of inclusion,
Yeah.
uh, and I think it's a lot better there. And I don't know if, like I was saying, like with my mom, certain people, as I got older,
Hmm.
I noticed that people have certain people that's deaf. They have a certain look. You know what I mean? Like certain
Yeah.
look like they're trying to hear this way or hear that way. There's a certain look. And so when I see that, I don't see that on my mom. At one time I did, I'd say, oh, it's not like you can spot on that that person is deaf or anything like that unless they see a hearing aid or different things like that. And my mom, she had a hearing aid way back in the day when we were younger, very briefly. Back then, they were like big clunkers like that.
Yeah.
Big, looked like she had a little round drum on her ear, and but she didn't. So she didn't grow up with it, and she was like in her maybe 40s when she first tried to get one, and she was saying it was too loud. It was probably she needed to adjust, but
Hmm.
then it wasn't good at all, probably because I remember when my dad took my mom to the doctor to check her hearing, see where she's at and stuff with the hearing. And they said that her hearing is
Hmm.
like taking, how you say, stethoscope, how you say that word? Uh, you
That's
know,
yeah.
yeah. it's like taking that and
Hmm.
putting it up against the wall. That's how
Okay.
much hearing he has. So it's absolutely none there. So I was like,
Mm.
wow. So that was rating of her hearing. But she can feel the vibrations, like I said, and different things like that, turning the music up and stuff. But in that, when I think around the look, as I was saying, people just didn't know. They didn't know what to look for. They were just afraid once finding it out. So walking, in society, that's what we were talking about, that when somebody has a disability. And again, like I said earlier, I never looked at my mom until now that I'm adult to say that she's disabled.
Yeah.
I just that I just never associate that with that until
Yeah.
someone asked me, and mom's death. They said, "Oh, so your mom has a disability?" And I just said, "Huh?" Because I never put it together. I
Yeah.
never put it together. But then I can safely say, yes, my mom has a disability. She can't hear or speak. But I
Hmm.
never did it like that. But society, I think they look a little different at us, but
Sure.
still, you know.
That's your mom, so you're not going to look at it like that because that's just what you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's friends of mine that didn't think of me as disabled, and there's probably family members of mine that didn't think of it either. It's
Mm-hmm.
just it's just what you're used to, what you grew up with, what you
Yeah.
yeah, and like the definition of disabled has grown exponentially in the last few years. That it's encompasses a lot of different things.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
they again, the society, you hadn't had that backlash of anything other than those three things you just told me, like they'll talk to your wife instead of you. And I mean, like you're not understanding. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't, like we said, get that.
it's they'll ignore me. They'll think that they can talk to her and not me, or they'll help me a lot, overly be helpful and nice, and it's nice and it's good, but it's to the point where it's like a little condescending.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I had this is a funny story. I was at the gym once, and I was going toward the door, and right when I was like a few feet from the door, I heard these steps from behind me, running his butt off, and he ran. It was one of the guys that worked there. He ran, jumped over my legs to open the door for me. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, if I couldn't open a door, I wouldn't be going to the gym.
Wow. I guess I
It
never
was
even
just
thought about
I didn't get mad. It was just funny because it would have
it.
sucked
So
if he fell.
you talking
Fell.
like going to the gym? I mean, is the door, like you say, we're having a talk. Is the door already open? Do you press that button?
No, I'm stubborn. I always do more than people will think of I can do. So I never push that button. I always just I always just open the damn door.
So then, what does that look like? Opening, I'm in my mind. You open the door. You have to open it up wide enough for the wheelchair.
Yeah,
So what does that look like?
it's just me opening the doors as much as it can
As
go.
opposed to pressing the button.
What?
You
What?
you know how when they have the doors. Well, I don't know about at the gym. I'm thinking about other places where you could press the button and the door opens for you.
Yeah.
Or is that the type of gym you go to, or you just go to a
Well,
gym regular door you just have to open?
I don't go to a gym now. I have weights at my house, but back then it was a gym. That, I'm assuming that there was a button there for disabled people that needed it,
Hmm.
but I always just push the door open. I never use that button because like it
I still,
the way I
I
the way
cannot
I look at it,
envision.
well, if I can do it, I'm gonna do it.
I cannot envision it because just opening the door for myself, I got to open it and I got to put my body in. Then you got to open it and put your body plus the chair. I can't envision that. I'm trying to vision that.
It's like my feet and the chair start
Okay.
with the exact spot. So like I'm as wide as my chair is.
Okay.
My wheels are a little longer, but like it just I just open the door, roll through, and then when the door can close, it closes. That was really it.
So is that a big swing open? So you
Yeah,
open it, a big swing.
yeah. Just
Okay.
it was like any other door. You just open it all the way.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about myself each time. I really don't have to just do that dramatic swing that you're doing.
And no, I would just I wouldn't think of it. I never thought of it as dramatic. I just opened it up all the way as far as it opened.
In our eyes, it's dramatic. That's why the man jumped over.
That was dramatic. That was
Yeah,
overly.
that was dramatic.
That was a bit overkill.
Wow, that's an overkill right there. Was certainly a huge overkill. Jump
Yes.
over your legs. He could have landed on your legs.
Yeah. And like the other thing is, like I said, when people ignore me, like there's certain people that have a look that they don't say anything, but they want to ask you a question.
Hmm.
And that's part of why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I want to educate so that people can know that it's okay to ask questions.
Hmm.
And if the disabled person that they want to ask a question to doesn't want to answer them, that's their prerogative. They can say no, but at least ask the question, and don't be afraid to ask the question.
Yeah, because I see people like, oh, like when you go in the store, are uh, so you use your chair when you're in the store and not a motorized. You know how they
Yeah,
have the motorized carts when you go to the store, so you just use your wheelchair, not.
I just regular. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Because I see some people. I don't even know if they go in their wheelchair and then go motorized, but I do see people that are they get in the motorized chair and then they don't need help. I'm something high, even though I'm on 5'2". I'm like, you want me to get that? Like, no, I got it. And so I respect the no, I got it. I don't
hmm
give them a nasty snarl.
yeah.
Like if they
And,
got it, they got it. You
and that's
know.
something like, people like if they ask me for help and I say no, they get all butthurt that I'm like saying no and then I'm doing it myself. That's another thing that bothers me. If I say no to you or say no thank you to you, just accept that,
Yeah,
buddy. I don't care if it's me or anybody else.
yeah. I learned to accept that. I learned to
Yeah.
accept. Yeah. So wow. So this is a crazy question, I think, because I just thought about it. So
Okay.
when you're with your wife and you're
hmm
out there, I'm laughing inside. Don't get me. Don't get me. I'm wired a certain way. So you're with your wife
Yeah.
and these walking men, do they try to talk to her while you're with her, or do they assume that you're not together, or they think you're together?
Funny question.
I told you I'm wired a certain
But
way.
you'll know why it's funny in a second. Gay men love me, and I live in Vegas, so I've been hit on a lot. And like, we'll be on the Strip or on Fremont, and like guys will be hitting on me, flirting with me, and my wife will just like put her arm around me, like, "Bitch, get away from me." That's funny.
What do so they don't think that you guys are together? What do they think?
Well, I know people that like they think the women that are with the guys that are in the wheelchair are their nurses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's different.
yeah. It's awkward and offensive as hell, but it is what it is.
Oh my goodness. I didn't think he was gonna say that the guys feel it.
And it's funny because I'm unobservant and my wife is observant. So I don't even tell I can't even tell when they're like hitting on me or like trying to get close to me or tricking me out. Like I can't tell. And there was one time when we were on Fremont and there were two women showgirls like
Hmm.
dressed in like whatever they were dressed in,
You
and
mean
we
like
took.
will they
I,
drag?
I'll tell you, we they,
Okay,
she was they
okay.
were in a bikini like in that like like top and bottom set with the feather thing on the head. I took a picture of them. Later on, my wife was like, one of those was a dude, right? I had no idea. No idea.
Mm.
That was
Then
that was
Vegas, you see a lot of things in Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas. Yeah, I've seen some crazy things in Vegas.
Wow.
But
So what is the weather? So you're in California or what
I'm in Las Vegas.
in Las Vegas? You do live in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So what is the weather like, and do you get to go out on the strip out there a
Yeah,
lot?
like we haven't been on the strip like since before COVID, but we can go on the strip whenever we want. I mean, we used to go on the strip at night and just watch there are bands playing and people all around. I mean, now it's almost dead, but I'm guessing it's getting more and more people now. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's busy. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just fun hanging out there, listening to bands play, and yeah, do that.
California, you get that live band and different type of things, out there singing, and you meet a lot of celebrities that when I used to live out there, I met Bookman, Bookman for Good Time from Good Times.
I met JJ Walker.
Yeah, I never met JJ, but I met Bookman. I
He
went.
lived. I don't know Bookman.
Hmm?
I don't know
That,
Bookman.
if you watch Good Time, he's the janitor.
Okay.
That's
I
Bookman.
haven't seen that show in a long time.
Yeah, he's that one. So, but I had seen him, and you do see a lot of celebrities, and it's just commonplace.
Yeah, I've met about since living in Vegas. I've met probably three. Like I went to lunch with my parents, and I met JJ Walker, and then there's a couple other musicians that I met out here. But yeah.
Yeah, I met Thelma, and I was going to do a book signing with her, but it didn't work out. But I met her. I got a picture with her. I got a picture of us. I mean, a video of us dancing together.
Hmm.
I'll post that on there since I mentioned it. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I was thinking about, being in the wheelchair. How does society look at you? And that is like, to say that when you and your wife together and they talk to her instead of you,
Yeah.
and that is real different. I
Yeah.
mean, as a man, do you feel that they belittled you or just, hmm?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's belittling and defeating, and uh, it makes your already low self-esteem and self-confidence even lower.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. So how do you correct it? You just leave it alone?
um, I used to get quietly mad, um, and now sometimes I go between uh, over like exaggerating and like being like, "Hey, I'm down here. Don't look at me." I've actually said that to people. I do that, or I'll just be, try to be the educational example that I'm trying to be, and just tell them like, please talk to me. And if I ask you a question, look at me, talk to me,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, just trying to correct them. I mean, and not to be correcting like in a bad way,
Hmm.
just for the
Hmm.
future for other people,
Yeah.
because I'm going to leave, and it might happen again where you're with someone who's disabled, and that might be another uh, interaction that I can help with.
Yeah. I've never seen that too much, that they do that, but then I'm not around like that. And to see that, but that is very interesting that we probably do that on, what am I trying to say? Self-consciously,
Yeah, yeah,
knowing and not knowing, because you see somebody, you go to the parent or go to the most able-bodied person, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Because they talk to the people that they think they can just talk with or communicate with the best. I'm
Hmm.
assuming. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we can look at it that way, or it doesn't mean that. I mean, if you're talking and you're hearing and stuff, I think we need to just look at things like you say to educate. You know, like you got your wills and warriors to educate us, especially us community, on how to, like you say, start those questions, how to not just get this stare where you're staring at them. You know, you're like, ask me some questions. Just do things like that.
Yeah.
It may start it.
My whole the tagline for Wheels and Warriors is start a conversation to end the stigma.
Hmm.
Like my whole thing is have a conversation now, ask questions, educate, get it out of the way, so that it can get to a point where that isn't needed or necessary.
Hmm.
It's place. It'll just you'll you'll be with family that can tell you how things are,
Hmm.
so you can grow up and like interact with people who are disabled freely and knowingly and openly and not have to like feel like you have to shy away from them.
Yeah, because I see that like in elementary school, because I volunteer a lot,
Mhm.
that the kids are more ask more questions, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, so you're in the wheelchair. Why are you in the wheel? Kids are just ask that when it comes to adults. I don't know if we, okay, because like I know growing up and you've seen different type of disabilities,
Mhm.
and maybe because my mom being deaf, it was common for me to just interact with people that had disabilities and not look at them like, afraid or something, because that's my community. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so to look at someone and to, like I said, to be afraid because my mom can hear and talk, and then um, people sometimes like, okay, my brother, he has for example, like they have some type of disability, like, oh, don't look at them, just don't ask them no question. They okay, they're in the room. We don't ever go in that room. We just leave them alone. And hey, you go to somebody's house, and especially us people of color, we try to get our kids, our family, help at home, love them
Mhm.
enough, just keep them at home, but not enough to get them the help they need. So
Yeah.
you like I'm just thinking, my cousin, it was my cousin. He had autism, and it wasn't really known back then. And I don't know what type, but he couldn't hear. I mean, he could speak, he could talk, but he could hear, but he couldn't talk. And
Yeah.
so they had him in this, I kid you not, in this big cage, like the size of the living room. I don't know my measurements, but it was a
Wow.
big cage, right? And he would be in there, and all they gave him, I kid you not, they gave him bananas. They just gave him light things. This guy was and he was a teenager, huge, and he was like, and this is my cousin, and I'm not trying to be funny. He was more like a gorilla in the zoo.
Yeah.
So if you touch the
That's
cage,
how they're treating
he
them, it sounds like.
say it again.
That's how they're treating him, it sounds like.
Exactly. And so any things, I don't know, he would have, just dressed up shorts or whatever with the suspenders and all that. I was very afraid to go in there, in that room where he was. But my brother passed. He got killed when he was 17. But he was the only one that went in that cage with him. He was so strong. If he touched your hand, he could break it. I mean, just a simple touch. So
Mhm.
he and my brother, they just wrestling back and forth and just tearing everything up and just wrestling. He comes out, my brother comes out even more stronger than he was going in there because they just wrestled. I mean, it was just, that was his friend. He'll see him, and then they said, "Let him in the cage, let him in the cage, let my brother in the cage," and they go in there, and that was his communication. He loved seeing him, but stuff like that, we would say, "Okay, that's so and so. Don't touch him. He's in the room." But
Yeah.
we didn't have no. You didn't ask any questions. Or that's just my uncle. He's in that room. He's kind of crazy. Just shut the door. No questions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So maybe we can get away from that and just, like you said, start those questions and don't be afraid to ask those questions. But how do you like promote starting the questions? What is the, like if you telling us to ask you question, what is the starter of beginning, even with asking questions, if we don't know what to ask?
Just telling them start a conversation, open yourself, be vulnerable, uh, and ask anything, but know that if you ask anything, you may not get an answer.
Okay.
You, you may or
That's
may not.
hmm
Like I said, you ask any, you should be able to ask anything. You should want to ask anything. But disabled people are different. There's different people are different, so they may or may not answer, and that's their prerogative. That's
hmm
their.
hmm
But at least ask and open yourself enough to have that conversation and be free to not be afraid of them or separate yourself from them.
But what if it's on the other side, like the person that has a disability, they don't know how to, well, maybe they might be shy, or maybe they may not want to talk, or how do you, I know I'm switching things around, but how do they do that, if the person is willing to talk and the person that has a disability wants to talk. So, I guess that's a toss of the coin to have that type of um, dialogue that way. But
I would just encourage them to like introduce themselves and ask them, "Do you want to ask? Do you know what you want to know something about me or my disability?" And and I would tell them that it's okay to not be afraid of
hmm
difference. So just I would encourage them to just open themselves up because that give and take will free everything up.
hmm
So many
hmm
doors to everything.
yeah, yeah, that's good. I
Yeah,
think that's good to start with this dialogue with you. And do you come on like every Friday or
every Friday. Yeah, yeah.
every Friday
We do a show every Friday. Yeah.
about this time, about 8 o'clock our
Well,
time, or
it's I do
because
the same. I do the same time every day, but I do the same day every day, every week. But I leave the time up to the guest because they have different schedules. So
yeah,
I just whatever time they can do, we do, and I just promote it to let people know that this is what's going to happen. This is when it's going to happen.
and that was my first time seeing that video that you had when you were going to do Terry or
Hmm.
whichever video. So I'm gonna have to look for your videos to catch those times when you do it because I enjoy your show and I like this. I'm getting for us to have dialogue.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't be afraid.
this is
But it's
like
important. Is it very important? Or I'm not saying that it's not important because you keep in mind I'm learning to understand that yes, my mom has a disability. I'm learning to understand that. But is it important uh, for the able body to even think to ask questions, or is it the stares that promote that you should ask questions rather to stare?
it's the stairs are why the stairs or the separation. Like I've had adults like pull their kids away from me. Uh, yeah, so it's the staring and that type of behavior that I want to uh, prevent, and that's why I believe the conversation is and the questions are important, so that if you know what they're about and what their life is like and why they are the way they are,
Mhm.
be afraid of it, and you'll understand it, and you'll be more at ease with it.
Yeah. That's good. I'm looking forward to more and more conversations of this. I see that it's almost 9 o'clock my time.
Okay. Do you
Uh,
you have to go?
I don't have to go.
That there's a. Do you have any more questions for me?
That was one of the ones. This is very important, that, because of the stairs and everything that they do.
Hmm.
And do you have any children?
No, I don't have any. I don't have any kids. I have a dog daughter. Yeah, we have a dog. Her name is Bailey. She's 2 years old. She is a Bichon Shih Tzu mix,
Okay.
and
So
we're probably gonna
question,
have. What was that?
you're probably going to have a child, or that's not in the
No,
card?
no, we're not gonna have any kids. We're past that age where we don't want any more. So, but we are gonna have another dog when we can afford it. Yeah. So she can have a
Yeah, because
brother.
that'll be good. So you take the dog for the walk and everything when you
Oh yeah,
go out.
she's a little spoiled little princess. She goes on between 2 to 5 walks a day.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So how is that walk? I know we could have it in our leash, with you being on the wheelchair, do you hitch her to your wheelchair, or do you hold the hand, and how does it follow you?
I just it's the leash. The end of the leash has a handle, so I just have put my hand in the handle of the leash and just push myself.
Mm-hmm. So you're pushing yourself. So the
Yeah.
dog is going as fast as you go, or does it try to go any faster than what?
It depends. Like if she has her best friend is a poodle named Sooty. So if she sees Sooty, she goes nuts and runs as fast as she can. So I have to rein her in when that happens. But for the most part, she just walks with me. It just depends
With
on
you?
how it just depends on how excited she gets.
Oh my goodness. Just like regular.
Yeah. Oh,
Just like, okay, do you who does the cooking? You or your wife?
he does. I I make a I like the way I like to say it is I make a mean omelet.
Omelet?
Yeah, I'm good at omelets. That's
That
about
is
it.
that's really good. Because some people can't make them. Sometimes I burn them up, and the it gets kind of hard because I'm not paying
I've
any
burned
attention.
them too.
Mm, mm,
But
mm, mm. So what have you do you have a certain diet, or certain things of how you eat and keeping yourself healthy and stuff like
yeah,
that?
well, I don't. The way I am, I don't. I'm the one of those uh, eat to live kind of people. I don't like
Mm-hmm.
to. If I didn't have to eat, I wouldn't. Um, I
What?
have, I have oatmeal in the morning for breakfast. Um, I'll have yogurt or like nuts for like snacks, and I'll have like a ham sandwich for lunch, and then I'll have whatever she makes for dinner
Oh wow. And that's every day or different days?
every day.
You do veggies and
Or like egg salad. I love egg salad. Like I'll buy those already hard boiled peeled eggs, and I'll eat those too.
hit you with your spoiled self.
Love those.
And here I am boiling my eggs in the morning, so I mean at night, so
Oh,
my husband have eggs.
I it takes too long.
I don't know how long it takes, but I'll let it boil. Sometimes I let it boil. The yolk, I like my yolk dark, and
Hmm.
my daughter like it like yellow. And I don't know, for some reason the yolk being dark is good.
I don't know how long it takes. I was just told my mother told me you boil eggs when they go to the top of the water, they're done. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
I've had some eggs in there and I forgot, and it burnt down. The water had evaporated. And I said, "Oh my goodness, my husband, you cooking something?" I was like, "Oh yes." How do
Wow.
you burn eggs? You know what I'm saying? Hard
Hmm.
boiled eggs, burning them, just talking, talking.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have, if it's okay, to tell you what I'm going to have coming up. I don't think I have any more questions, but I certainly will be writing down more for next
Um,
time.
2 things. Yeah, I want to know
You
about the Alley Shea project.
say you talk.
What was that?
Go
I
ahead.
can't hear. I can't hear you.
You
What's that?
talk about 5 things. You said you
Yeah,
talk about
I
before
want to talk
you
about
end.
that Alley Shea project first.
Yes.
Tell me about that, please.
Okay. That is yeah, what we're gonna have, Angelo, his daughter, his first daughter,
Mm-hmm.
first child, was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, which is the brittle bone disease. And he
Yeah.
says, like, collagen in the bones, and it just, some people break their for yarning, they can break their ribs just from yarning. Well, his daughter had the most severe, which was type 2. So she was born, well, while she was fetus,
Mm-hmm.
or in Europe, as they say, in the womb.
Yeah.
um they saw some strange things going on, but the doctor just said, it's probably just a shadow, you know,
Yeah.
ultrasound. I'm sorry, my husband's sneezing. Shadow from the ultrasound. And
Mm-hmm.
he said his wife noticed that the baby's legs were broken like this. And
Mm-hmm. Okay.
so from that, and they just said, no, no. And to finally, they didn't know about their baby having OI until birth. So when the baby was born, the baby had like an egg. If you look at an egg and you see how it's cracked, the shell is all just broken, but it's not hard. So his baby, this alley shaped product is about his deceased daughter, and
Mm-hmm.
he got a chance. He never could hold her because you have to hold them a certain way because you could break them,
Yeah.
and so she died. And before she passed, that was the first time he ever got a chance to hold her. So she
Mm-hmm.
died in his.
Oh
So from
wow.
there, he said that he is going to continue bringing awareness to OI. And
Okay.
they do kind of fundraisers. So the 14th of this month is going to be the 12th anniversary, and they're doing the fundraiser. He lives not all the way in New York, but kind of close to New York. And they're going to do a fundraiser at Uno, Uno's Pizzeria out
Okay.
there. So they collect funds for the organization, OI organization. So I met him about 6 or 7 years ago, telling his story. So
Okay.
he said that he's going to do this for a lifetime.
That's great.
Just bring. So that's what that is all about, the Alishay project. And when you look that up, Alishay, ALLESHEA project.com. And you
Okay.
can stuff on there, and you can see him, that picture that I have. You can see him with looking at the baby, look like he's reading to the baby. And then
Mm-hmm.
also Tony, I don't know if you know Tony Jacobson.
I no, no, I don't.
He has OI one, the type one, and he had a lot of breaks, but it's not as severe. So I'm going to have them two on the 21st.
Okay.
We'll talk about that again and
Mm-hmm.
talk to them about that. And that's going to be a Thursday, and it's going to be 8 p.m. And then I have on the 12th, which is
Mm-hmm.
next. And then we're going to talk about autism. So
Yeah.
two powerful women. They're going to talk. They both. One has a son. One has a daughter, and they're going to talk about um, their children. How was it in society? Bringing them out. Sometimes it's hard to have them in public because they, annoy themselves, and they can't too much noise for them and stuff. So she's going to tell us about that's my husband talking. She's going to tell us that both of them are going to tell us about their walk and and that is Autism Awareness Month. April is so that's going to happen on April 12th, as I said, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's going to be a powerful one to see these ladies. What we always say, God trust them with the gift of children, with disability or something like that. So yes, look forward to that. So what you have coming up in your
Um,
five things?
I don't have anything coming up. I'm just doing my promotion of the Bills and Warriors and trying to just keep the message alive and keep it going. One of my favorite motivational speakers, Sean Stevenson, has
Mhm.
had OI. He passed away in 2019.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He unfortunately he was in his electric wheelchair, and it tipped over. So he like it hit his head and he died. Cracked his skull. Yeah,
How old was he?
40.
So it was just a freak accident then.
Yeah, freak
Well,
accident. Yeah,
he fell back.
fell back, cracked his skull.
Oh my goodness. Was he
Yeah.
found?
I'm
Was he
assuming his
found?
wife. I'm assuming his wife found him. I don't really know this.
Oh wow. Well, we'll have stories like that, and I hadn't heard anything about OI until I met him. And
Okay.
then being on Instagram, and you know how you can search, like I searched you, you can search quite a few people, and I was able to search him and then another person. So that other person, it doesn't, what I have, it doesn't fit in the schedule, but
Mhm.
Tony Jacobson, we'll have him on the 21st and them. So it's going to be very interesting because he has OI. His daughter passed from OI. So it's going to be like he's teaching us and he's learning. Angelo is learning from him. And I'm hoping that it'd be a successful network connect
Yeah.
because
Okay.
they both have the same awareness that they're doing.
Okay.
And he's in the gym, and I will talk about it more because I just met him, and I
Mm.
love it when people like yourself and people like Terry, when you meet the people and they just automatically just connect. They don't have to say, like you didn't say, Ellen, where you come from, what's all this, I don't know anything about you. Why would I have you on my show? Stuff like that. And so the same thing with me, with you. I love to hear people's story and,
Yeah.
stories and different things like that. And I think the only way to network is the only way to do is just to get together and not just, I'm the type of person like, what do you do? Like, what follow? This is a question that I can ask you now. Like, we followed each other.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very important when the way you want to network. Because if you're networking and you're like, I just want to connect with Mike because he has a big following just to be on his platform so I can have people to follow me.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's not what I want to do. When I network, I want to like, I see your shows, watch other people's shows. I don't want it to just be about me. I want to be able to support you, share out your stuff, do stuff. And I think the biggest, what I want to say, not platform, but the biggest media is word of mouth
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sharing. And so with doing that, I have only been on Instagram less than 3 months, I guess. And
Okay.
already I have, some followers and I'm following them, but I'm mostly on Facebook. And I
Okay.
find that being on Instagram, even though on Facebook my page is international, but this is like a big, huge, you can see people out there and just continue to do what you do, like you do what you do. I do what I
Yeah.
do, and we never know who's watching. Like people overseas are watching us now. They're not necessarily in the feed here, but you have like people there. Let's see. I don't know. Can you see who you have there?
Um. Who's joined? Yeah, I can see him.
Yeah, who's joined? I know Melvina's there. Hello to Melvina. And Ignite, that says Ignite Dentry,
Yeah.
something like that.
Hmm.
Hello, guys on there. And quite a few
I
are
had a
watching.
show one like a couple guests ago. Actually,
Say it again.
I had her on a couple of guests ago.
Melvina?
No, Ignited Entrepreneurs.
Oh, okay. Okay. And different people. So you just look and see like I do. And I can't wait to have you back again, especially with Tangi, because you both have uh, uh, the same spinal bifida,
Okay.
and I have got to have you back. I don't know what I'm gonna see how she's doing. Are you flexible? Like I had to, because she's a hairdresser, and when
No,
she was
I,
on that date,
I
yeah,
can do times pretty much. I mean, not any times, but I can make most things work,
okay,
especially.
especially the weekends. You say
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, because Sunday was good for her. Hey, Queenie, Sunday was good for her because she is not at work. So
Yeah.
I'm her again which Sunday is good for her, and 6 o'clock was good for you.
Yeah, that's good.
I would love to get you two back together that way. Well, not back together. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Nice. Yeah.
Just have to be careful when you're talking to people. But I would love for you to connect.
Okay.
And so that you could tell what type, because some of those questions she was asking me to ask you, especially about the doctor, because she's having a bit of a challenge being a female and, having spinal bifida. There's certain things female wise that,
Yeah.
they just trying to put on the back burner and, oh, that's just regular. And you should be feeling like, and that's why she had me to ask you, how is it
hmm
as an adult with
Yeah.
Dr. Careful? You said you didn't have any
I
problems
barely.
as far.
I only ever see the doctor once a year.
Yeah, and so she's seeing him, I won't say once a year, but I won't even say quite often, but more than once.
Yeah.
And she got some things going on because I think I did ask you that she said something about catheter.
Yeah.
Do you use a
I
catheter?
do that
I
once.
don't. You did at one time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I should be
you
doing
should.
that once a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when she come back, then y'all can have more dialogue because she can certainly from one spinal bifida to another spinal bifida, and
hmm
then maybe we can get some more people. This holds only 4 people, right?
Yeah. Only four. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we can get some more and just have a community.
Yeah.
That's what, or just to have a community.
Yeah. That'd be good. Oh, I have a few questions for you.
Sure.
I'm like, okay. One thing in life would you eliminate for yourself or someone you love?
I'll definitely eliminate drama, but I don't have any drama, but that's what it would be. Drama, drama and having great uh, time management. I would like,
You eliminate that?
I mean, I would, when I say eliminate, I would eliminate the bad habit of it. Like
Okay.
Well, I don't know if I'm
Time is
twisting
man.
it. Yes, I
Yeah.
want to eliminate that.
I get that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What one image makes you smile?
Smiles when people are smiling. That makes me smile.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, that makes me smile when I see people smile.
Good one.
Yeah.
What is your happy place?
My happy place.
Yeah.
Oh, my happy place is I'm a Christian girl, so my happy place is just being in a quiet place, praying or reading the Bible. That is my happy place. That is my happy place.
Nice. So I have two happy places. One is Cedar City, Utah, which I love. It's like a small town. And then the second one is my like that spot like between your shoulder and
Hmm.
right here.
Hmm.
That part, wife.
You said that
That
part what?
part of my wife. Like right
Oh, man,
if I go
oh,
there and I'm a good man. I'm a happy man.
oh, that is so good.
Yeah.
Well, so that means I have to include my husband, and then I have to have the place, and then that also I have to add books. If
Okay.
I could be in a
I'm a
room with
fiend.
books, like a book
I used to
with.
have a ton of books, but my wife was like, "You have too many," because they were all over. So I had to donate them, and now I have Audible, and now all my books are in one spot on my phone.
See, I have the audit. I have Kindle on my phone. Also,
hmm
the reason why we place we're in because my husband is a bookshelf. It's a
hmm
fireplace. It's a bookshelf, and I say I've got to have this place because of the fireplace.
Yeah.
And then my husband. Then I had some books in the box, and my husband was like, "Do you really need all those books?" I said, "Yeah, yes, I really do." You're not going to read all those. I'm going to read them eventually, but you don't put books away. And
Yeah.
then like one time it was a New York Times bestseller. That's why I do what I do. Kimberly Lawson Roby. I had
hmm
brought her book. to the movies with us. So the screen hadn't started yet. There was nothing going on. The lights wasn't out. So I took my book out and read it. He's like, "You brought a book with you?" I was like, "Yeah, nothing's happening." So we had a big fight over that book.
One thing I want to tell you, I'm actually writing a few novellas right now.
Uh-huh.
So when I get those done, I'll let you know, and I'll give them to you. I'll
That
give you
sounds good.
copies.
I would love it. And
Yeah.
I love that. And Tony, the guy that I'm going to have on the 21st, he has a
Hmm.
book and he's written about OI, and it talks about him, the healthy part of it, exercising, and it still he has he could break a bone, but he still do like healthy exercise
Hmm.
and doing that. So I'm excited
Yeah.
about that. I can't I have his book on send it through. You know how to send it through your email, or you can read it like PDF. He sent it
Yeah.
PDF, and then I'm gonna get a book copy. But I can't wait to do that. And see, it was something else. I know I took it too far. You only asked me for one, but there was something else that I liked. Okay, if you didn't ask me this, but
Yeah.
the one thing that, like, two things, book or TV,
Hmm.
you could take away TV. I don't care about TV, but don't take my books away from me. Because
I get
my
that.
husband, he loves watching TV. So I'll sit by him with my book because I know he's going to keep changing the channels. And he'll
Hmm.
have some, hey, look at this. And I'm looking 2 minutes in, and he changed. I'm like, why'd you call me to look at it? And you change it 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
So I have a book for safekeep right by me, book upstairs, book downstairs, book in the car. I don't have it there now, but that's how I had to have it. Book upstairs, downstairs, car, all over, in my purse when I'm going to the store, in the event of a wait,
Yeah.
one, doctor's office. I
Hmm.
kid you not. I kid you not. Doctor's office. It was a long wait, right?
Hmm.
I was reading my book. I got on a good page, and she called my name, Ellen Sudderth. I was like, "Oh man, that's a good." And they was looking at me like, "Girl, I take your place." But I just went on politely, marked my page where I was. And I was like, "See y'all." This is drama, right? See y'all in here. If you bring a book and you read a book, and they'll call your name right away. Bring a book. That's what
That's funny.
I do it all the time. Tell them, bring your book. You won't have to worry about that.
Funny.
Okay, what else do you have for me?
Two more questions. What message do you want to share with the world? What is your message that you want to give out?
Ooh. Is it like in general or
Just
whatever?
just general. What do you want to share with the world, or with your followers, or who you talk to?
Well, one thing, okay, it's gonna be like a two and one. I try to make it a one and one, but when it
Yeah.
comes to the book world, my message there is, if you're an author and you just got your book, you just printed, you got your book in your hand, to not just tender it. Make sure that first book get out there. Make sure your readers can see it, and
Hmm.
don't just do it the cheap way. Like, you may not want to spend a lot of money and do stuff, but you've done a lot of things that you could have just went on that route, that you and just did it right. Just do it
Yeah.
right, and
Hmm.
get the book out, and also know who your audience is. If you are erotica and you're trying to give your book to somebody that's romance, it's not going to work unless they like it. So know where your audience is, and know that your book is not going to be sold just from being on the shelf, that
Hmm.
you have to engage with readers. You really do, because who's reading the books? Readers. So that, and as far as a world thing or people, I would like for people to not change one another.
Hmm.
Just accept them who they are. Don't try to change anybody, because I notice that people, when they try to friend another person or something like that, they feel like they have to change themselves to be with somebody. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Just
I got
be yourself. Like, when I meet people and they, like I don't know what my light is doing, but like I'm at a grocery store or something like that, and if they're mean or just out in public, I'll just say that. And if they're mean, not vicious mean, if they're mean and they all talking and everything, I was like, man, you're gonna do well because you're doing yourself. Do you, girl? Do you, guy? You know,
Yeah.
and that's good. Just be yourself and accept people. And I think that's the way we can do it. Accept them as they are. Don't try to mold anybody to you. We don't need a whole bunch of Ellens. I'm a handful. I'm a handful. You do not need a lot of Ellens. You don't need it. Just be yourself. That's what I would say. It's a long message, but just be yourself and accept that person for who they are.
That's a good
Don't.
message. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
One more. What empowers you?
Oh, and it's not even about myself. What empowers me is pushing others' dreams. I am such a helper. What makes me so powerful is meeting a person. Let's use the book because that's where I am. Meeting somebody who just wrote their book
Hmm.
to make sure that we walk alongside of them, that they, any questions they need to know, because some people be like, just find out for yourself. I love, even if it's not a book, I love helping people in their beginning and making dreams come true.
That's good.
That's what I love doing. And
Very
it's
empowering.
about helping people. That's make me happy. And that's what I love doing.
That's very empowering.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it.
You are so welcome. And I'm looking forward to seeing you back
Yeah.
with us. I cannot wait till you and Tangie talk.
Yeah,
I
me too. I'm looking forward to going on your show.
thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity and for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to see your smile. You have an awesome smile. To see
Yes.
your smile and to see what you're doing and to help helping society to cope with the word you used. You said, tell us your mission again about disability, ability. I'd like to hear that again, what you say
Uh,
in your mission.
I want to change the way able-bodied people think about, interact with, and perceive disabled people. I want to educate able-bodied people on what disabled people can and cannot do, and I just want to bring able-bodied and disabled people together. Those are my three big things.
Yes, and I love that. And that's what I saw. When I saw your mission, I was like, wow. And I'm like, wheelchair, what? I don't know if it should be a wheelchair look. I don't know if somebody should look like they're in a wheelchair. I don't even know if that's fair for me to say that you don't look like you in a wheelchair. What is a wheelchair look?
Yeah, I don't know.
But I can say that some people that are in wheelchair, like this is going to be a hard one probably. Show me your hands. Okay. So, like your hands let me know that you are well taken care of because some people hands are like this and it's like
Hmm.
that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
when they're
that,
their hands like that.
when
What
that
did you say?
happens, when that happens, I'm going to be screwed because I need to get around.
Yeah, but didn't you don't you
Hands
see
are
people
what?
having you hands like that when they're in the
I,
wheelchair? So,
yeah. Some people that have really bad arthritis. Yeah, I've seen that.
mm-hmm, because I didn't know whether it was arthritis or if they just wasn't doing all the ability that they can with their hands,
Hmm.
you know. But I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's been great,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah. I've enjoyed
Always.
this. Yeah.
I did too, as well. Thank you so much.
You and let me know when you want me to go on your show. I'll go
I,
anytime.
it'll be a Sunday. In fact, I'll talk to her really soon and see which Sunday is best for her.
Okay.
And is it, well, of course, it'll be after the holidays because we got Easter coming up. So
Yeah.
let's look at maybe the end of the month or May time on a
Okay.
Sunday.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank
All
you.
right. All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you to Ellen Ann Smith Sudderth for being a guest on Empowering Discussions with a Disabled Man. Thank you for checking in and making comments and checking out the show, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.